Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video. And this video is going to be a little bit different than what I normally do. And I don't even know if you guys are going to like this video or find it boring, but I thought it would be cool to compare every dino size to a human in this game. So what that means is we're going to take every dino one by one, stand them next to this human figure, and see how big dinos were compared to humans. So apparently this human is available in the CMI Plus mod. So if you're an admin, you can download this mod and have access to all of these things. So they have a human for scale option, and it's basically supposed to represent the accurate size of a human compared to each dinosaur. So for every dinosaur we stand next to this guy, it's supposed to be an average comparison. So I guess for more of you dinosaur nerds out there that know more about this stuff than I do, let me know if these sizes are accurate, and we're just gonna go one by one and hopefully we get some interesting ones. So up first we have the Alioramus, and apparently this is how big the Alioramus is compared to a human model. To a real life human, they were this big. And keep in mind, like when you stand the Alioramus next to other dinos, he looks pretty small. But next to a human, this thing makes me feel like I'm fucking huge. Next, we have the Allosaurus. This is how big apparently the Allosaurus was next to an actual human. My God, imagine being a human and seeing something this big coming at you, trying to fight you. I would be shitting my pants. Next, we have the Cerato. I think that's how you say his name. And he's actually doesn't look that much bigger compared to the average human size. I mean, yeah, he's a little bit taller and beefier, but he's actually doesn't look as huge as the Alioramus, which I'm pretty surprised. I think if these things were alive today, people would probably ride these things as horses, or try to at least, and not get fucked up. Next, we have the Conc, or the concave, however you want to call this ugly thing. And he's looks like the same size as the Cerato compared to a human. Doesn't look that much bigger as far as like height wise, but it's still pretty intimidating, the size difference though. Now we have the Dasp, and the Dasp is pretty big, I think. Yeah, he definitely is a little bit bigger than the Allo. I can't remember the size difference between this guy and the Allo, but you can see the human definitely looks much smaller. Next we have this guy. I can't remember his name or know how to say his name, but I just called him the little feathered raptor. And he's actually the first dino we put up here that's actually smaller than a human, about waist level. So probably the size of an average big dog or something like that. So you can see, oh, I'm kind of standing weird. Okay, there we go. See, I'm right at the waist level where his arm is basically over my body petting me, so that's pretty cool. Next, we have the Laten. The Laten is actually pretty much eye to eye with the human, it seems like. If I were to go face to face with him, yeah, we're pretty much like neck and neck, which is actually pretty funny and scary. Now, I don't know what height this human model is supposed to represent, if it's like 6 feet, 5'5", 6'5". So I'm assuming it's going to be the average, which is not super tall, but you can see the Laten pretty much goes eye to eye level with the human. Next, we have the Meg. Everyone loves the Meg, the giant ass lizard, and he looks fucking huge compared to this human. Like, not huge as in height wise, but like thickness. Like, look how thick we are compared to that human. God damn, bro. In real life, this will be scary running into one of these. And then if he goes like this, oh, forget about it. Look at that height difference. God damn, bro. He'd be feeling like Godzilla in this bitch. Now we have the Metri. And the Metri kind of, I think it's the same size as the Cerato, right? So yeah, it's pretty much, it's still a little bit bigger than a human. You're going to look huge to them. But nothing too crazy, but yeah, you're still pretty big. All right, now we have this guy, the Carno. I don't know how to say his real name, so I'm just going to say the Carno, the new dino that came out with the Pachy the other day. And this is him compared to a human. And you can see this guy is huge. If we do the camera angles, oh man, you would be scary and shitting yourself if one of these ran up to you. Because if we go from a frontal view, and this thing's towering over you, yeah, you stand no chance. Next, we have the Sarco. This is the Sarco to a human. Now you can see, body-wise, the human is almost the same height as his body. But when it comes to like thickness and how big the Sarco is, oh man, it doesn't even compare to the crocodiles that you see today in the real world. So I would definitely avoid this if I ever went back in time to the dinosaur ages. Now we have the Spino. Spino, huge, probably the biggest one so far in comparison, especially with his big fin on the back. And you could barely see the human from up here. It's crazy. Yeah, in real life, I would just die. Now we have the Sucho. Now Sucho's a little bit taller because he has a longer neck and face, and you can see next to the human, he is pretty huge. Even if we angle it down like this, you can see the head of the human doesn't even go to the belly of the Sucho, barely. So if he was towering over you like this, oh man, that would be, I mean, it would be badass if this thing was like your guard dog or something, but other than that, you're fucked. Now we have it against the big guy, the T-Rex, human compared to the T-Rex. And you can see the size comparison is pretty obvious that the Rex is fucking huge. Now, if we stand over the human like this, the Rex just has a way dominating presence over him. And yeah, I mean, but that's as expected. I mean, we know the T-Rex was pretty huge back then, so yeah, the size comparison though is crazy. Like, he's like, look at the size of the T-Rex's leg compared to the human. Like, goddamn. Now we're on to the Herbies, and the first one we got is the Alberta. Now, the Alberta looks like a trike compared to the human, by how big he is. But the Alberta, although small in size, he is pretty fairly bigger than the human. Probably like, I'll say like the size of an elephant in real life if we had to compare it to something. But yeah, he's bigger than the human, but he's not that big overall. Now we do the Amargasaurus, and the Amargasaurus, probably one of the biggest ones as far as like height wise, and you can see the size difference. Now when it comes to the human, now when you do the side by side, obviously the Amarga looks huge with the long neck, and if this thing is up on you, it is towering. If we do a face to, oh shit, let me not have his nipples in his face. If we do a face to face, you can see it's still pretty big. I'm trying to think of a or an animal you can compare it to today. Probably a giraffe, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm sounding stupid by saying that, but yeah, otherwise the Amargasaurus is pretty big compared to a human. Now we have one of the most annoying dinos in the game, the Anki or the Anno. And height-wise, the human's actually like eye level with his body and his head. But thick-wise, you know, Anno got some meat on it. So Anno still got some definitely size, but I don't think it's a really big difference compared to animals these days. So I would say the Anno's probably an average size animal if you were alive today. Now we do the big guy, the bars. The bars compared to a human is insane. Literally, probably one of the biggest ones I've seen so far. He could literally stand under me and have so much room to just do whatever he wants. He could tickle my balls for all he knows. But I kind of expected this because the bars, I don't know how big he's supposed to be in real life back then. But, you know, compared to this game size, it's fucking massive. Now for a dino I really do not want to compare it to, but I have to because that's part of the video, is the Campto. The Campto full adult is a little bit smaller than the average size human. As you can see, it's pretty much like, I don't know what animal I would use to describe it, but a Campto is a pretty decent size when it comes to being next to a human. Obviously, when he's next to other dinosaurs, he feels really small, but I guess when you're next to a human, you actually feel big for once. Now we bring out the duck. This is the duck compared to a human, and the duck is a very big in size. You obviously probably could have predicted this when you stand over the human, like right up to where his nails are. Imagine if you were a human and this thing walked up behind you and it started tickling you with his nails. Oh, that would be fucking horrifying and just horrifying. Now we have the EO Trike, and I thought the Alberta looked big to the human, but the Trike looks fucking massive compared to a human. I don't even know if the Trike would be the same size as like an elephant today. Maybe a little bit bigger than an elephant. Yeah, especially since the fucking human's head is like right up to the bottom of my body. So I don't know about that. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the size comparison between these two, if you had to compare it to a real life dino. But goddamn, that difference is breathtaking. Now we have the Iggy. Iggy is pretty decent in size. I pretty knew it was going to be a little bit bigger than the human. Human's head reaches right where his body would reach. So standing next to this thing in real life would probably be an insane sight to see. But yeah, this is pretty much the height difference between the human and the Iggy. Now we have a Kentro. Now the next to the human, the Kentro looks like more like a Stego size. Obviously the Kentro is very small, only 2,700 combat weight compared to other dinos. But when he's next to a human, god damn, even one of the spikes on the Kentro is huge compared to the human. So imagine this thing attacking you in real life. You would be fucking dead in a second. Now we have the size comparison with the Lambeo, or the Lambulance, whatever you guys call this thing these days. It's pretty much the same as the Iggy, I believe, when it comes to the height difference. So it's nothing insane or crazy, but the Lambeo definitely has a good size difference when it comes to being next to a human. Now we have the Pachy next to the human. Pachy, one of the new dinos that just came out a few days ago. And next to a human, he only had 2,000 combat weight, and I was wondering how small this thing really is. And now that I can see him next to a human, I'll kind of understand why he has such a low combat weight. So let me know in the comments if this is more accurate as far as size comparison. But you can see the Pachy's a little bit taller than the human, not by that much. Maybe the little noggin on his head makes him a little bit taller. But other than that, he's nothing outstanding that we haven't seen, you know, in today's age as far as animal sizes. So, but it's interesting to see the Pachy and the human. I always wanted to see the size comparison between them. So I'm glad that I'm able to check that out right now. Now we have the Stego next to a human. Like I said, the Stego doesn't even seem that big compared to the human. I have a feeling if Stegos were alive today that people would probably use them at like amusement parks or something to ride around on them like a horse. I don't know how violent these things were in real life, but yeah, the size comparison is nothing breathtaking. You can see it's a little bit bigger. So now we have the Struti, and I never seen the Struti look big compared to something else before. But compared to a human, he actually looks pretty big. He kind of reminds me of an ostrich, you know, with the long neck, not as a bushy body, but yeah, definitely decent size compared to a human. That's actually insane. I'm really fascinated by this size difference too, because I didn't know what to expect with a Struthi and a human, but yeah, this is the size difference between them. And then last but not least on the officials dino list is the Styra. And the Styra size difference is pretty much the same as the Alberta size difference. The human makes the Alberta look, makes the Styra look huge. But not that big of a difference though when it comes to the human. You can see the human is almost eye to eye with his body. You know, if we go face to face with the human, we'll probably end up being eye level. Let me see real quick. Yeah, pretty much eye level, like literally eye to eye. So that's an interesting comparison when it comes to the Styra and the human. But yeah, guys, that's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, I wanted to try something new. It took me about an hour of recording to do this whole list. So make sure you guys hit that thumbs up if you guys found it entertaining at least. And then you can throw your own facts or stuff in the comments below as well. And if you want me to do a separate video of doing this same thing but with all the modded dinos, let me know and I will definitely work on that if I notice that this video does good.